Good morning. How are you, Rob?
Very good, Joe. Are you well?
Very good.
Are you well?
It's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah, what's it been?
Because you've had the World Champs.
I've had the World Champs.
It's 10 torch brought off. We've been busy, haven't we, basically?
Been very busy. I've had the World Champs. I've been Portugal, what seems like...
8 times.
Yeah, I've been Portugal 3 times, practicing for the World Champs.
Yeah. Which
obviously proved to be a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, disappointing trip.
But...
Made your debut, though?
Yeah, that was... I tell you what, that was brilliant. That is brilliant, but let's not take away the fact that we didn't do very well.
No.
And...
aside from Mick getting an individual...
Well, this is what I'm going to say. Obviously, everyone wants to do well individually. Yeah. Everyone wants to do well individually. But
it's about
if you don't do well as a team, individually, and I know people saying it's a bit of a cliche, but if you do not do well as a team... It is a bit of a cliche, that. It doesn't mean much, because Mick did really well. He got an individual silver, but I tell you what, none of us were in the mood to celebrate or do anything.
Shame, isn't it?
So
if you'd have got a medal and Mick had come silver, it'd have been like the best thing ever.
Of course it would have, but it really took the shine off what Mick achieved. So it makes me think what's the individual side of it isn't really as important as people think. So, you know, it is what people are right. It's about the team.
Brilliant result for me.
Yeah, great result for me.
Mr. Consistent now.
Drew absolute bunghole both days. He must have done.
Can't win off bad.
No, he's done really well. Fair play to the bloke.
So let's not dwell on that.
Yeah,
anyway.
Let's not dwell on that.
So we're moving on from that. Where are we going today?
We're going first stop.
Aren't we?
Yeah, first stop. We're going to get a bacon sandwich.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
You are.
Yeah, you don't eat that stuff.
I eat that sort of stuff.
Me awful. Chips last night. Bacon sandwich.
So you go. Is this you in here? Is it?
It's it. Yeah, Baker's. Yeah.
Counts what bacon?
Baker's.
Because the woman's even moving for you.
Yeah.
So you're going to go bacon sandwich.
I'm going to get a bacon sandwich, and then we're off to the fabulous and famous Tunnel Barn Farm.
Which we're going to go do some F1 bashing.
F1 bashing. You love a bit of F1 bashing. You're into your Snake Lakes at the minute. I need to get my head on it a little bit. Catch a few fish, because I'm fishing loads in natural venues.
Yeah. And it's hard work, isn't it?
It's hard work. I'm not being unsuccessful because I'm sort of winning my section, framing, bitting and bobbing everywhere.
Typical early season natural venues, though. It's tough, isn't it?
But it's so hard, really hard, and I just don't feel like I'm catching loads of fish. So I just need to go somewhere, catch a load of fish, and also with
it'd be good for the viewers because obviously it's a popular style of fishing.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll give you a few tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Probably not many because we don't know that many, but.
Well, you're the man on these F1s.
I know everyone says that, but I don't. Really
I used to catch
in the F1s
a lot of F1s on these.
Neither of us really go in the summer, do we?
Just never do it. No, because obviously we're doing other things in the summer, aren't we? So it'd be interesting to go.
Yeah. Two different approaches.
Which let me go get my bacon sandwich, and then we'll tell everyone about different approaches.
Lovely.
Do you want to?
No. So is that a cob then?
Yeah, it's a cob.
That's classed as a cob.
Cob is just a cob. Right. Just like a bread roll.
You're going to turn surround sound on. So we're going to Tunnel Barn. First thing I need to say, what's this?
There's some floats from Gaz Melman.
What, we got some dusted?
I think so. Let me open it, because I'm not too sure, to be fair. I think there might be some rubes.
Rubes?
He just said he's had some floats for me for a while.
And he hasn't sent them?
And he's not sent some. So I just said to him,
send them.
Just send them. Because obviously I've not been fishing the same sort of same circuit as him.
Well, you've been feeder fishing, haven't you?
I've been feeder fishing. So I said just send them through, guys.
Oh, look at this.
What are they? Rubes? I think they'll be rubes.
Got some rubes.
Okay.
Flexi stem rubes. Look at these cane tip bad boys.
Yeah, cane tips, yeah.
You like a cane tip, don't you? Yeah. And we got some dusties.
Oh, well. Let's look.
Nice little delivery, isn't it, that? Flexi wire.
That's what I used today. Tell me about this flexi wire. Do you use it?
I have, yeah. It's good.
It's sort of in between wire and carbon, isn't it, weight-wise?
Yeah, do you think you should be doing this while you're driving? For the fans?
I don't know. Well, just looking at floats. Do alright, isn't it? 5 mile an hour.
5 mile, okay. So yeah, so we got some dusties.
Yeah.
For today.
Yeah.
So, we're going to go for 2 different approaches. What are you going to do? Obviously, we'll discuss it more on the bank and show everyone what's going on.
I want to chuck some maggots. Apparently maggots are working quite well.
Maggots are working very well, yeah. Maggots and casters are like the kiddie at the minute.
I'm going to chuck some maggots. The weather today is a little bit up and down, because I think it might rain a little bit later.
Yeah,
it might get a little bit cooler. So I always like maggots on days like that because you can catch at quite a few different depths. So I could chuck maggots in, set up a couple of rigs, maybe 3 rigs, catch shallow, catch on the deck, and just search my peg. So I'm thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I chuck maggots at sort of like 5 sections, 6 sections, the camera will. If I chuck maggots at 5, if I chuck maggots at 5 or 6 sections out,
you're going to catch loads.
Should I? Yeah?
Yeah, you'll catch loads.
So I'll catch a load. I've got, obviously, I went Evesham yesterday, I've got quite a few maggots left over from there, so I've got probably like 2 pints left over. Buy another pint or so at the shop there. Well, 3-4 pints of maggots should do me for, what, sort of
They have been. Paul Holland and that have been catching very well here.
Yeah.
Feeding up to 12 pints, believe it or not.
Right.
So,
well, let me tell you,
you ain't fishing.
I won't be feeding 12 pints of maggots.
Pints of maggots, no. It's a lot of maggots, that, isn't it?
There's a lot of maggots.
But anyway, so you're going to do that, and I'm just gonna. All I have got is 4mm pellets.
Right.
That's it. I've got 2 types. I've got my oiled up ones and I've got some standard ones.
We were talking about this the other day, weren't we? How pellets.
You almost need to be a master of pellets now because you only have to look at the big money finals.
Yeah.
And the qualifiers. You might as well just take a bag of pellets to every one of them.
Well, Jamie Hughes at the weekend Fishery. We know, like, obviously Jamie fishes loads of different baits.
Yeah.
But I would say that nearly all his successes in the warmer months
pellets
are on pellets, and in the colder months mainly bread, is it?
Yeah.
So.
And he still likes his pellets though.
So and obviously pellets. John Winkle last year won 100 grand, or near enough 100 grand.
Half a dozen bags of pellets.
Not even that. Obviously, probably used a pint of pellets for both matches to win those events. So is it worth? Obviously, it's great for a sponsored angler to go and take a gallon of maggots everywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And you take it off with a smooth, sometimes it works, sometimes you absolutely annihilate things. But you know, for an average bloke, for him to just take a bag of pellets fishing with him, if he's on the fish or near them and he's good enough,
he's going to catch enough.
He's going to catch enough, and he's not spent a fortune on bait.
No, it's I mean, the beauty of it is now you don't even need expanders.
No,
so you're literally rocking up with a bag
of 4mm,
or 6s or whatever you want to use,
and some bait bands.
Yeah, and you're away, aren't you?
Yeah, bit of careful feeding around your peg. And
there's lots to be said for that, isn't there?
There is. Sean Huggins, my big mate Sean, obviously less strangler, but
brilliant angler.
He's fantastic. Sean is. He's won UK champs in the past, like a few years ago.
That's just to give you a pedigree.
But he just concentrates now on sort of like local matches because
he's
a normal bloke.
That kind of place.
Yeah, he's a normal bloke, family man. Works, 4 or 5 days a week. Maybe gets a Wednesday off to fishing. Fishes Saturday and Sunday. He is absolutely fantastic at snake lakes, and all he does is he takes a bag of 4mm, sometimes some 6mm,
and makes them work.
Hard pellets, makes them work, and he does brilliantly.
And it's what I've been doing of late. I've been going to that Shears with Ale, and at first I was taking a few dead maggots for the edge, a bit of ground bait maybe a bit of meat for sure, and pellets for everywhere else. And in the end, I wasn't fishing my peg; I was fishing the baits.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. I'm trying to make the different baits work, whereas when you've only got pellets on your side tray, you've got to make your peg work.
Yeah.
Because you haven't got anything else.
No.
But then you realise that the fish love them anyway.
Don't get me wrong, I think, say if I'm next to you and I'm dumping in ground bait, in my margin, I think we can get more fish in my peg than you are with pellets. But...
No, I was catching more though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Because just lately I've noticed, I've been putting ground bait in and things like that down the edges. And yeah, you get a few fish about, but it's not like it was 3 or 4 years ago, is it?
No. Yeah, sun's out.
We're meeting Jake there, and there's even an appearance from Hollywood Bones.
Yeah, let's see if that happens.
Should we see that?
I'll believe it when I see it. It could be a mirage, couldn't it?
Could be a mirage. How's your carver?
Yeah, alright, yeah.
Oh, and I'm testing a new pole today. Something different.
Go on, what are you testing?
The brand new, you're on green, the brand new Daiwa Tournament Pro X XLS edition. So, be interesting to see what that is. Right. Obviously, Daiwas are got a massive following, aren't they?
Nice hidden away entrance.
I know.
I missed it when I first started coming.
Yeah.
Years ago.
There we go.
TBF.
My favourite winter commercial.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
You get a lot of bites, don't you?
Get a lot of bites. Come here for a few years now in the winter. Nice. Are they runner beans? I think they're runner beans, aren't they?
Yeah, just green beans, yeah.
Just green beans. So anyway, we've got a vets match on that we need to... Oh, I was going to say we could go on these pegs here, but we can't.
No.
Because there's someone there. I reckon if we go on the early numbers of high pull, you know, I think that'll be it. That'll be us.
I'll be guided by you.
We can park behind our pegs. Comfy. Not too wide, but wide enough to test this pole. They love it, don't they? Look.
Yeah. Busy, isn't it? Is this the vets match?
No, these are pleasure anglers, these.
Are they?
Yeah. You can use your nets here, can't you, pleasure fishing?
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nice lodges. Not so nice, man.
Yeah, with barnacles on it. Ban here, look. Panorama. Off of... You didn't want to be filmed in today. You know it is.
Probably on jam roll. Is this Jake?
There's Jake.
Well, if you're not going to talk to us.
Sun cream. He's a bit like you know.
What?
Puts like factor 80 on. You're looking very greased up there, Jake. Lubricated.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Should we go around then?
You put some on your nose?
Yeah, loads on the nose.
Right. Make sure you put some on that.
Should we go around? High pull.
Yeah. High pull, I think.
Well, we're not going on high pull, Rob.
No, match on.
Match on.
There's a match on.
Everywhere.
Canal. High. Loads of pleasure anglers on house.
Blokes everywhere, isn't there?
Yeah. Really busy, which is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So we're left with top, haven't we?
We're left with top.
You've just informed me that 3 pegs that way, someone's fished 4 metres to the island. What they have, £200?
£200, yeah.
£200, which is just ridiculous.
Is it though? That is fishing.
Yeah, I suppose it is fishing.
So where are we going to go? We're just going to go here on top pull. These few pegs here.
Yeah, you can go up. I'll go in the gap because I don't need an island to fish to, do I? For my tactic. And you go next one along. You've got some reeds there to fish up against.
Yeah, that'll do lovely.
Should get one a chuck there, shouldn't you?
If I so. So let's get some
Looks
kit out.
nice, don't it?
Yeah, lovely. Top pull. I like this pull. You'll catch loads of hide.
There's a lot of hide here.
Loads of hide.
Not
some
fished
barbel.
this late for a few years.
Loads of hide in here.
All right.
So
Get some gear
let's
out.
go.
So come on, then, let's get some gear out. What do you reckon? How much we're going to catch?
I think we should catch loads. There's not many moving though, is
No,
there?
there's not many moving.
Which is unusual.
It's strange weather conditions.
A lot of rain recently.
Yeah.
Let's get our excuses in early.
A lot of rain recently.
Let's be honest, we shouldn't struggle to catch some fish.
We shouldn't, but I don't think... Might not catch as shallow as I expected.
No.
I think it might be like a 2-3 foot
Bit
day.
deeper.
Yeah, rather than a 10-inch day.
Yeah, I agree.
All I'll do is I'll probably set up like 3 or 4 rigs.
Yeah.
Cover a few different depths. Feed a bit of bait. See how it goes. I think that's all. That's all we can do. Yeah, that's all we can do.
So we'll get set up, then we'll have a little look at the bait. It's not that there's a lot to show.
No, there's not a lot to show.
But I think that's important. The important point in it that there isn't a lot to show.
Yeah, simplicity, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Have you seen this? Alex Bones has turned up.
Yeah, it's a day out, it's not the weather's nice.
Let's have a cup of tea, please, Len. No, thanks. So, Rob, in stark contrast to our Ferry Meadows bait table,
Yeah, which was quite elaborate.
a smorgasbord for bream, I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
Big word. Very simple options.
Yeah, I've got
Maggots.
a few maggots. I'm going to send Jake to the shop to top up my maggots.
Yeah, you haven't got a lot, have you?
Well, I've got like 2 pints there, haven't I?
Yeah.
But I'm guessing I'm going to need sort of like 4 pints minimum on her just to make it work. So
Yeah.
there's loads of silverfish in this lake. Might have to feed a bit more bait than I'd probably like. So I'm going to get 4 pints of maggot. Should do us 3 hours fishing.
Yeah, easy.
We're going to do today.
It's worth saying though that if you were fishing for 5 hours, you're going to need 6 pints, aren't you?
I think you're going to need 6 pints,
Yeah.
especially if you plan to fish sort of like deeper as well.
Yeah.
You know, so get a bit of bait down.
But it couldn't be simple, could
No, really simple. Obviously,
it? Catch loads of fish.
your tackle shop owner's going to be happy when you walk in, but you catch loads of fish, and importantly, you catch not just F1s and carp.
No, you're going to catch skimmers, hide.
There's loads of hide in this lake, and you're just going to be building your weight constantly. Hopefully, I'm going to be quite busy today.
Yeah, I think you are.
Your bait looks pretty boring to me. So go on, tell me about
It's pretty boring. We were discussing it in the van earlier, weren't we, about just taking pellets. Now, all I've got in is 4mm pellets, but in 2 different guises. These are just like fishery pellets straight out of the bag.
Yeah.
I use them for shallow fishing because obviously a lot of them like get stuck in the surface tension.
Yeah, you wanted to say float, didn't you?
And like it's like
yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know what I
They
mean?
sink a little bit slower.
Yeah, and they just hang up there and feed your peg almost by themselves. So they'll be for pinging against the reeds to try and build a shallow line.
It's worth. I think it's worth telling everyone about the different sorts of pellets you get. So
yeah, these are skretting pellets.
You get coppins and skrettings pellets.
So I prefer skrettings where I can use them
because they sink a little bit slower.
I just think the fish eat them.
Yeah,
I don't think they eat coppins.
Don't you?
No.
Because the coppins pellets seem like they've not got as much fish meal content in them, and they seem
don't
to
break
sink
down, do they?
like bricks.
No.
So
I just don't think the fish like them.
They're not as attractive to fish,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I'm of the same opinion.
So these are just 4mm skrettings, what everywhere has.
Yeah.
But these ones at the front are a little bit different. They're just the same pellet.
Yeah.
But what I've done, I've just introduced some like fish oil to them.
Yeah.
Again, skrettings fish oil.
Yeah.
Can't really go wrong with that.
No.
And I just add it over a period of days and just keep dribbling a bit on. Right. And then, as you can see, they take on oil and they sink like little bricks. Obviously, very attractive because they're full of oil.
And that'll preserve them a little bit as well.
Preserve them.
Because they'll last. You're not going to ruin your pellets by doing it, are you?
No. And I use them for fishing on the bottom.
Yeah.
So whereas they'd be for my shallow fishing, because these sinks are fast and they stay as a pellet, I'll just use them.
And also, you know, if you were catching quite a few fish, you didn't want to change your bait.
Well, I'm going to move on to that for these.
Okay then, right.
These are like the next stage.
Right.
These are ones that they've been like that for about a year, to be fair.
Right, okay.
And then every week, I know this is a bit sad, but every week I go in, dribble a bit on, and it builds it and builds it and builds it to the point where they don't break down.
Right.
So as a hook bait, when you're catching lots of fish, they just stay on.
Because you've added so much oil to them?
Yeah, they just don't break down. So, you know, in a lasso and a fine mesh landing net, that'll be on when it's a fish race.
Yeah.
Catch loads of fish on the same pellet, which is obviously a big advantage.
Okay.
But so a simple bait tray, but you know, a couple of different options.
Yeah,
really.
brilliant. Yeah, you can see that obviously
a bit of thought gone into it.
The trouble is, when we're fishing a match, you get 5 hours, don't you? And if you've got
bit of this, bit of that,
you can't. It takes you so long to work something out that come the time when you want to actually catching fish, you're still working out what bait to use.
Yeah.
By keeping it simple like that, and you know exactly what use each one of those pellets has got.
Yeah, and we know the fish like them.
Yeah.
The fish love them. It's clean. It's easy to do. It's
not exactly expensive, is it?
It's the cheapest form of fishing.
Yeah.
And I just get up in the morning, grab a bag of pellets, and away we go.
Yeah, perfect.
So it is a bit sad, but very effective and very
really
cost effective.
Really effective. We spoke about it in the van. So
have you got any rigs on yet?
No, I've not got a rig on yet.
I've got my rigs on.
Right.
Obviously, I'm raring to go.
Well, it won't take me a second to get a rig out.
Well, you've got to go shop and get them on bait yet.
Yeah, I'll send Jake to get shot.
Okay.
I'm going to get 3 rigs out. I'm going to whack them on with top kits, and then we'll meet again. I might come over to your peg.
Have a look at the rigs.
And we'll look at each other's
rigs. Lovely.
Might be quite similar, but I've seen one of your floats going out, and it looked a little bit different to what I'd be using. So
yeah, lovely.
We'll have a look.
Shall I look at some rigs then, Rob?
Go on, Smokey, let's look at your rigs.
Will we have a look at mine first?
Yeah, go on then.
Right, hard pellet fishing.
Yeah.
Notorious for foul looking fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I've had these floats made, which have got, for F1 fishing, probably what I thought of as quite thick tips.
Okay.
You're right there?
Yeah.
So these are Mick Wilson JCs.
Yeah, I love a thick tip.
You like a thick tip. Probably got this from you a little bit. Lovely little float.
Yeah.
It's almost like a dibber, but a bit longer. They sit lovely.
Yeah.
Only really go under when you're getting proper bites.
I know what you're saying.
So nice little setup that. 4x12.
I know you're big onto that because obviously I'm massive. I like to dot my float down with a thicker tip.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to you a while ago and you said, oh, I want to have a load of floats sticking out.
No,
but I never feel that's right.
Yeah,
I always feel that you want to dot a float down with a thicker tip rather than...
It's something that Stu Pulse put me on to here. More in the winter, but definitely in the summer as well. When you're sitting for bites and when you're dimpling it down, the number of times, you know, you get an indication.
Yeah.
And you just lift and there's nothing on. And you watch it all the time. You see guys are like that all the time.
You're wasting time.
You're wasting time. So really, a bite's a bite.
Yeah.
Whether you've got this much bristle out or that much bristle.
Yeah.
You probably see it a bit quicker on a dotted down.
Okay.
But my float's in the water longer.
Right.
So that's my theory anyway.
Yeah, okay.
It's 2 foot deep up against the reeds.
Right.
I've just got strung out number 10s.
Really, too deep to fish on the deck really, is it? Well, you might catch a few to start with.
I'll catch a few to start with. 015 mainline, strung out number 10s, and I've got an 010, 3-inch 010 hook length with a little lassoed pellet.
Let's have a look at you.
18 B911.
And lassos are definitely neater, aren't they?
I love a lasso.
More fiddly to tie.
Yeah, they're definitely, and I just think they're just neater.
Yeah.
As the disadvantages though, I find with like bigger pellets, they get in the way of the mouth a little bit.
Right.
So whereas I think with a band, the pellet pops off.
Yeah. I like a band purely for the fact that the pellet comes out.
Yeah.
The pellet comes out.
And I think that's a big thing for carp, but I think for F1 it's not.
And
such
also
a problem.
it forces me to change the band after each.
That's fair comment.
For me, with my little girly fingers, and I've got my nails, so I can pop the pellet in easier.
So nice and simple setup. Important thick float. Another key, obviously the type of pot you use.
Okay.
It's just an MOP pot. It could be anything, but the key is it's this little lid. Hard pellet fishing, I've found that it's all about the noise. With them fast sinking oiled up pellets, you can just keep rattling a couple in, and it's massive. The noise is big, and they go straight to the bottom. So
what you don't want to do is dump in 20 pellets and sit there and wait.
No. So what I do, I literally feed every 10 seconds, and I'm just sit there, don't get a bite, ding, lift it, and just keep working it. So there's always something falling through the water. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah. I've set another rig up. 10 to 12 midi elastic. Yeah. I'm a hollow elastic guy, but because I'm testing this pole, I didn't have any hollows, so I just put what I had in.
Yeah, I think solid's good. Anyway.
Solid's good, especially here.
I think solid's good. When solid's you're catching a lot of fish
of the similar size.
If you're prepared to you keep checking your lagger. Yeah. Because obviously solid don't last as long, does it?
No.
If you're prepared to keep checking your lagger, after every session, make sure it's not worn itself out.
And I think
solid's great.
I think it's good on fisheries like this, where the fish are all a similar size that you're catching, because you can get it set up right. You don't have to use your puller all the time. And it's nice. When there's a few extra carp, I do like a hollow.
For today,
it'd be perfect.
For me, fishing obviously the bait I'm fishing with maggots, I'm going to catch a variety of fish, and I think that's where hollows come into their own.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because obviously, small fish, all of a sudden you hook a big fish.
So,
hollow helps them.
Moving on, and we've got, obviously it's dark, it's likely to be too deep before we know it.
I think you'll probably get about half hour at that before you have to move on.
So obviously the shallow water, now I can get into probably 10 inches of water if I wanted to on this peg. But in my opinion, it's too shallow for F1s. Yeah. So this is about 15 inches deep, which I think is about right. Just a 0.4 muddy float, little bulker number 8s, 3-inch hook length.
It's quite heavy for the depth.
Yeah, just to stabilise the rig. It's no secret nowadays that that's how we fish now. Heavy float, short hook lengths, nail the bait, and 6 elastic, same pot.
Yeah, that's all brilliant. Talk to me though, why you've got 1.5 foot, 2 foot of line between your pole tip and float, whereas a lot of people have that really short.
Just for ease, really. Obviously, it keeps the pole tip away. Does that make a difference? Does it not? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. In my head, it does. Yeah. So that's all that matters.
I suppose with a hair rig bait, you don't miss as many bites.
You don't miss
anyway,
as many bites. Again, it's my theory that a bite's a bite.
You don't have to be as fast on the bite.
It might just delay me a little bit. And they can be crafty in that shallow water. So I think that probably helps. But then there's other days when a real short is good because they up themselves, so it's weighing it up, isn't it?
Okay, so there you've rigs for sort of on the bottom, on the bottom. Have you got anything shallow?
I have, because obviously they are going to come up. Yeah. Look at these jazzy new top kits.
Yeah, I've seen these.
Nice these, aren't they? Yeah. So I've got a couple of standard rigs, just fixed floats.
So hang on, let's talk about the theory behind the grey top kits, for obviously for people that don't understand.
It's like a herring's belly.
Yeah, herring's belly. Yeah. So obviously the fish feel a little
hold them up against the sky.
Less silhouette. The fish feel a bit more confident when they're coming up.
Again, could be a load of rubbish, but if it helps in here.
Is it hurting anything?
It's not hurting anything.
Maybe someone might laugh at you occasionally.
Yeah, but who cares?
Is it hurting anything? Yeah.
Simple rigs, 0.2 Drennan inline crystal dibbers, my favourites for this sort of fishing. I like them when you're fishing up against reeds, because they are in line, so there's nothing to get snagged if the fish goes through the reeds.
They're just pulling the you're not really watching your float here, I
suppose. No. Whereas if there was a little bristle, there's a chance when you're pulling back the bristle gets stuck. And so one thing I've found recently is on my shallow rigs to have the bulk of my weight underneath my float, just one shot down the line. Yeah. I don't know why, it just needs to work better. Yeah. Blue hydro on them. But I've got 2 of these. Now I've got no experience whatsoever with this, but I wanted to play with it today, and that's the jigger. Yeah. I know you've tried it,
like it. Yeah, I've loved it, yeah.
Obviously just a little jigger float, bulker number 8s, 3-inch hook length. I really want to try this today.
I'm going to say it's a brilliant way of catching fish. Yeah. Fantastic way of catching fish. Whether it sits right with some people, because in effect you're fishing with a direct line, but you've got sort of a stabiliser on there. But
it's effective.
Let's get it right. We've had all different methods come along over the years. I remember people
swim feeder.
Method feeders.
Swim feeder.
Swim feeder, yeah. Method feeders weren't, they weren't playing fair. Swim feeders weren't playing fair. I'm not too sure whether, if the whole world started fishing with jiggers, whether...
Would it be a bad thing?
I don't know.
And it's a great leveler, isn't it? It's
a brilliant leveler, but there is a way of fishing it. There's definitely a way of fishing it.
So I'm going to have a good play with this today because I've never really fished it. Obviously, when I've been out with guys on features and stuff, I have. But a quick little thing, which I think the viewers will like,
go on then,
is my little hookups.
Yeah, I've seen them, yeah.
Because obviously, when it's summer, the last thing you want to do is this, what I've done here. Where all your elastics out. You're only going to end in your elastic lasting a month, and that's it. So what I've done, and if Jake can get in close on that, I've just a little electric tape, a little line of 021 line, and then my thing can hook up there. You can use elastic bands in that, but I find they go up and down or they fly off. That's fixed, hooks up, my elastic's in the pole.
Okay, and obviously all you do is, you know what rig you're putting on your kit, so what you do is...
You can do it at home.
Yeah.
I just think it's a nice little way of just keeping your elastic in and that side.
That's quite a long lasso, that is, isn't it, for F1s?
Yeah, that's just because it's one that I've got that I need to use up.
Because usually for F1s,
you want it tight.
Tight to the back
to be fair, that's a 6mm lasso and it's a 4mm pellet. But,
okay. At least you're honest.
To be honest, that's a deep rig that I probably won't use. So yeah, blue hydro.
Yeah,
nice little setup. Beautiful. So let's have a look at yours for your maggot fishing.
As always, obviously my kit's pretty...
I bet you're using a dusty, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm using a dusty.
Oh, hang on.
I'm not using... Let this fella by. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
I'm not using the ones that we had in the box this morning because I've got some rigs already made up.
Have you?
Yeah, I've got rigs made up, yeah.
Lovely float.
It's a lovely float. I've plumbed up and I've got, what's that, 4 foot?
Yeah. Deeper than it looks. You said it was like 2 foot, but it's deeper than it looks.
It's deeper than it looks. So I've got about 4 foot. So, in my opinion, like you've done across the far side, if I'm fishing on the bottom, I want my rig to go in, clunk, stay stable.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm feeding by hand, so there's going to be a lot
of fish at all different levels.
A lot of fish at different levels, so I want a nice, stable rig. So I've set up a 4x16 float. Probably takes probably one extra number 9 than a 4x16 shot bore float does, because it's the nature of Gazzy's floats. I've started it with a bulk of number 9s and then two droppers that are quite close together.
Yeah, and it's worth saying you've got a shot on hook length, which people
what I like to do,
seem to not want to do that.
Well, what I like to do is I like to use 18 shot lengths, and I put, because I use stots,
it doesn't do any damage.
I don't think it damages the line one bit.
No.
And I like to put my last stot on the hook length. And what I'll do is I'll move that stot up and down. So notice that you've got a 3-inch hook length there. I can move this stot down to 3 inches away if I want to. I can move it to 8 inches away if I want to.
It's very versatile.
It gives me a little bit of versatility. And let's remember, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we were all fishing straight through and not worrying about the damage on the...
Yeah, exactly. I used to use 010 straight through everywhere.
And we were getting really good presentation because we didn't have the loops in the way that were causing a bit of a kink in the line. So I just feel that gives me a bit of versatility, helps with my presentation a little bit. So number 9s, nice stable rig.
Orange hydro?
Orange hydro, great for everything that swims. Hook length wise, I've got 012 and that's a size 16 B911.
Yeah,
so
the
standard, old faithful kit for commercial.
So all my hooks are 911s, your hooks are 911s.
Yeah, so
it says a lot, doesn't it?
It says a lot, yeah. So there's my rig for fishing on the deck. I probably will pick up all these rigs as the day goes on because of the nature of the way I'm feeding. So there might be a period where I fish on the deck later on in the session, whereas you'll probably start on the deck then have to come shallow. I'm the other way round. Next rig is a bit of
an
in-between rig. It's a bit of a searching rig, and I'll cut it down to suit whatever depth, if I feel whatever depth I feel's right. But it's same float, a dusty, but this time a 4x10. So basically, it's just for searching through the water.
Is that half depth roughly?
It's
2
foot
maybe.
But like I say, I might slide this float down, set it at a foot, just mess around with it.
Lovely one to have on your roost, that isn't it? You can just pick it up.
Just pick it up, and you might be able to nick a couple of extra fish, and it tells you so much about the peg.
Yeah.
Same line, same hook, same, different shotting because it's strung out, but I could bulk it if I want to.
Yeah.
But it's just a rig set half depth, just for searching the peg bit really. It's not a bagging rig. It's for giving you information and maybe picking up a couple of fish on the way.
Nice rig. Orange again.
Orange hydro again.
And then this is my favourite rig.
This is
It's everybody's favourite.
I've lost count of the amount of fish that I've caught on one of these floats, and every time I go into a shop and I see them on the shelf,
you have to have them.
I buy every single one that's in the shop. A 3BH canter, lovely little float for fishing shallow. Only issue is prone to a few breakages.
Yeah.
So
you can get around that.
You can get around that. Tie the eye in and super glue them in again. But they're still, you know, they're a shop bought float at the end of the day. And this is one of the old school ones. It's not one of the
beautiful,
new,
isn't it?
not one of the new
hybrids.
Hybrids and the fancy versions.
So why? So right, why are you using that instead of a dibber?
Because
everyone's dibber mad now, aren't
they? Yeah, I'm a dotter downer.
Yep.
I think
even for shallow fishing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even more so for shallow fishing, because
the resistance
we've all seen how good rigs like jiggers are and line straight through rigs are with no float rigs. And that's because there's no resistance. And when a fish takes the bait, bang, it's your pole tip and you hook the fish. So by using a tiny little float, dotting it right down, almost overshotting it sometimes, just so the weight of your maggot sort of maybe just takes it just level with the surface skin where you're struggling to see it, all your bites should be like elastic stream from the end of the pole. You can create a nice slap. It's not too loud a slap on the surface, so it replicates the bait that you're feeding. I sometimes feel, especially for wary fish, when you're slapping a bulk in, it's a bit too much.
Bit too much, yeah.
It's a bit too much.
Can be good for F1s, but for other fish.
For other fish, it's a bit too much.
Going back to the strength of your float,
yeah.
I remember watching you and filming you for a Match Fishing Live on UK Champs, and you got 250 pound on one float, so they're not that weak.
No, they're not that weak. They're not that weak. But if you just, you know the situation. You pull out of a fish just there, you look up, and
your eye's gone.
Where's my float?
Yeah.
It's come on. So
one thing I just want to quickly point on before we start: neither of us have got a Dacron connector on.
No, neither of us.
Now this is something that I've been doing for about 12 months now. I know you've been doing it as well, and I know a lot of people have, and that's switching to like a straight direct bead instead of a Dacron. Now I believe it makes a difference to the amount of bites you hit. I just think it's more direct. The only worry is obviously wear and tear on your elastic. But because it's so easy to do, you can just quickly take that much off. Tie another knot. So in my opinion, the advantage is
mine's slightly different to yours, because
you have a little bit of elastic.
I like the effect of
a Dacron.
The Dacron where it's pushing out. But what I found that a lot of people were doing is they were using really, really soft Dacrons. So it was negating the advantages for using that Dacron in the first place. The idea of the Dacron for me was to push the rig away from your pole tip so you didn't get any tangles. Now if I let that go back in, you can see it sticks out from the pole tip just under an inch, and you're not going to get any tangles on that.
It's just a direct Dacron, right, basically.
Yeah, just direct.
So lovely.
So it just means everything's a little bit more direct.
So while I'm doing everything I can on these rigs to keep my elastic not perish, you're just ruining it, aren't you?
It's orange hydro, it's tough as always.
Yeah, true. Shall we get some fish caught?
Yeah, let's get some fish caught. Jake's going to go to the shop, get me some maggots.
Yeah.
Well done. Please. And,
you're looking at the wrong camera, that's the camera.
Yeah, but Jake's there.
Yeah, but that's the camera.
Yeah.
Shall we catch some fish?
Let's catch some fish.
Right, time to get going. I've got my rig that I've set at 2 foot. It's just off them reeds on the far side. I've got my little pot, filled it up to the brim with 4mm pellets, the oiled up ones so that they sink nice and quick. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to shake in a few to start with, just like 6 or 7, wait for a few seconds, see if I get a bite, and if I don't, tap some more in. So I just keep repeating until hopefully I catch fish. Just got a 4mm pellet on the hook. Let's go give it a go. Rob's still fannying about trying to get sorted, so I'm going for it. Just ship out to the mark. Right, what I like to do, lift the pole up, probably like 2 foot off the surface, just tap a few in. You can, because of how we're feeding, you can see the, you can see the different pellets. So, indication there. Just lower it back in. See that nice thick tip? Oh, look at that. Beautiful. That was good, Jay, wasn't it? Yeah, hopefully it'll be an F1. Oh. Nice big fish. Number 10 elastics working nice. Oh, look at him. Beauty. Nice F1. First chuck. Look at that, lovely. Put him in. Rob's caught one. Well, that worked. Instant response to them pellets, as you'd expect. My pellet's still on, so I'm just going to try again. Just put a few pellets in. Now, I wouldn't expect this to last too long because it's, you know, it's quite deep. Even though it's only 2 foot, in the grand scheme of things, that is pretty deep. So just go out and repeat. But just for now, just play it by ear. Just keep tapping them pellets in, and if they show signs that they want to come shallow, I'll pick my catapult up. Here's one for you. Why is it that fish like roach take the bait right down? Yeah, an F1 just licks the bait. It's a bit of a quandary for you, that. What do you reckon, Jake?
They're just bothered about getting the bait before anything else does, whereas F1s know that they can sit there and mither over it.
Mither over it? Yeah. Right. So we just keep repeating this process, just shipping out, tapping a few pellets in and seeing where the peg's going. And just tap a few in. I've got that strung out shot in. I might need to bulk it, to be fair, to that. Took it on the drop.
Worked well, that last bit.
Nice, isn't it? Keep catching them. I was trying to get under your nets, don't they? These little swines. Yes! See that? Good bit of netting, that. I'm already thinking about how we can like improve the catch rate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the pot off and start just feeding with a catty and see if that's better. Because that was an instant response. Little F1. Without tapping any bait in, so take that off. So the ultimate aim now is to obviously try and catch them shallow against the reeds, which is, you know, not everyone wants to do. They assume shallow fishing's for open water, but it can work brilliantly against reeds like this. Devastating approach at times. Get the pellets around the float, Joe, it helps. That's it. I wouldn't be surprised if it took long. There's another one on the drop. As you can see, I've only been fishing for like 10 minutes, but I've already made a key decision. Pot's not really the one today. So, yeah, nice F1. 10 elastics working nice. Whoa, lovely. It's worth saying about this landing net. Rob gave me this landing net, amazingly, a couple of years ago. It's done me proud ever since. The reason I like it is because I am a fan of a lasso. And with a normal landing net with a wider mesh, the lasso gets caught in it. Whereas with this, it doesn't. With the fine mesh, it's not as good for scooping, but over the course of a match, it saves you time anyway because you're not having to keep breaking your, your band or your lassos off. So it was a good one. That was a good find, that, Rob. Cheers, Rob.
So we've started quite well. I'm not catching the fish that Joe's catching because I know he's catching some chunky F1s, but I'm catching loads of eyed, and they're nice fish, to be fair, and it's quite a novelty to catch them because it's not very often you can go somewhere and catch a net full of eyed. But they're about, I'd say, between 8 and 12 ounce a piece. Great weight builders. One a chuck. I'm getting the odd F1 in between now. But it's worth noting I started on the bottom just to see what was happening. I started on the bottom, feeding maggots out of my hand, just at 6 metres. And I caught a few fish, but then I got invaded by tiny, tiny fish. And they just weren't worth catching. So I'd noticed a couple of line bites, on the float, seen a couple of swells. So I've, picked up my shallowest rig, that little 3/8 canter, and I'm catching fish like that every single chuck now, which, as I say, brilliant weight builders. And I reckon the more grub that I put in, the more bait that I put in, the bigger the fish will get. So I'm hoping that later on in the session, I'll start catching more and more F1s, and obviously in a match situation, that's the ideal scenario. But you can see, obviously we're fishing short. Eyed aren't exactly the hardest fighting fish in the world, so you can net them quite quickly, play them quickly. And you're in and out really quick, and you're putting a weight together so much quicker. I'm probably catching, I mean, I know Joe's catching really well, but I guess I'm catching sort of 3 fish to Joe's 2. So I'm just hoping that maybe we'll see, maybe my numbers game will probably might outfish Joe come the end. But it'd be interesting to see the size of the fish at the end of the session, the contrasting nets of fish. Because I think it's going to be obvious come the end of the session, you know, quite an obvious difference. Slapping the rig's important. I'm fine, I'm not getting a bite if I just leave the rig static. I mean, that's a decent fish, it's probably a pound. If I leave the rig static and just fishing in one position, I'm not getting a bite, but by slapping the rig on the surface, I'm obviously creating that all important noise, and I'm getting bites really quickly. I mean, it's hard to catch faster than this. It'd be just nice if a few F1s sort of gate crashed the party. The F1s I've had have been nice fish, they're 2-pounders, so it's not as if we're struggling for bites from decent fish. Just so nice, and with that really small float, quite often the fish are just pulling the elastic out because obviously there's no resistance there at all. Change my, I don't like it when, obviously I know there's loads of fish there and they're probably not too concerned about inspecting the maggots so closely, but once the maggots get really chewed up, I do like to change them.
There's loads of fish there already. Loads of liners. They're definitely up in the water already. Amazing. Amazing how quick they respond to pellets. Nope, it's time to go shallow already. So, let's put the shallow rig on. So we're 12 minutes into the session and I'm reaching for the shallow rigs already. What should we start on? Ah, sorry, I'm going to go in with the shallowest set normal rig. It's probably 15 inches deep, something like that. I'm going to do a bit of tapping, a bit of slapping with this. One quick tip when you're using short rigs, put your pole tip under the water when you're shipping out. Stops you getting tangles, and the water coming out your pole tip only helps to attract fish anyway, so we're right in there against them reeds. Short line, so the fish should probably hook themselves. You're only, oh, there we go. You're only allowed a 4-inch line between your float and pole tip here, so I've measured that, so it is exactly 4 inches. Yeah, blue hydro and that. One thing when you're fishing against reeds, like in open water, I'd be feeding all the time, making sure that the fish stay. But when you're against reeds, it's not such an issue because they're sort of there anyway. There you go, nice F1. Didn't take long, did it? Shallow. Look at that. Let's try it again. Lovely short line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to feed now. I'm probably trying not to feed again until we catch one. So, pole tip under. Whiz it out there. And just weight, maybe a bit of tapping. Very effective for F1s. There we go. So now, I'm going to feed now. That'll do, just quite aggressive. It's obvious that this is how we're going to catch a weight today. Fishing shallow. That lovely big F1. So, there you go. The key things is, I like to have a bit of shot under my float and not much down the line. Nice F1. That lasso's pellet so I can get on with it. Don't have to keep changing my hook bait. Combined with them oil pellets. Short line, short top kit. These are the F1 speed kits from Daiwa. Just all combines to catching loads of fish. Pole tip under so it doesn't tangle. Right, get across, shove it in the reeds, and start a bit of tapping, and there we go. Another F1. So as you can see, you can get into a hell of a rhythm very quickly. Feed, come back in. Short kit's doing its work, controlling the fish. Another tunnel barn F1 comes to the net. So obviously at this catch rate, it wouldn't take long to rack up a £100 net of fish.
Hide is such a hungry fish, it's hard to overfeed them, and once they're in your peg, quite often that's it. They're there for the duration until you've caught them all. They're such an aggressive feeding fish. Considering they look like roach, you'd think they'd feed with a little bit more finesse, but they're such an aggressive fish. Obviously not breaking down the poles, helping massively with speed. I've got this orange hydro is perfect for netting the fish like this, but obviously for hook an F1 or a carp, I'm going to have to break down and net the fish more conventionally. Can't believe how good the fishing is. Fantastic fishing. And you can see as well, you don't need expensive kit because I'm using 6 metres of pole. You could come today with a margin pole. You know, a pole costing sort of less than 200 quid and catch just as many fish. I just cannot believe how good the fishing is. I mean, I know we're pleasure fishing and we've got a lot of space and theoretically it should be brilliant, but even during the matches, all the blokes are catching plenty of fish. You know, £200 winning quite regularly at the minute, which obviously for the size of fish is really busy fishing, loads of bites all day. You just can't knock it. I mean, this sort of fish, it's all about getting into a nice rhythm and just putting fish in your net and not breaking that rhythm. Once you start catching, you've got to just keep the fish there and just try to make as few mistakes as possible. Because on a venue like this, it's a numbers game. Obviously, there's some bigger fish in here that you might catch in your margins later on, but to be fair, that's sort of when you're catching well, this time of year, those margin fish are more of a get out of jail tactic for if your main line stopped producing or it just never kicked off in the right way for you. Be interested to see what these I'd weigh come the end of the day. Might be worth counting a few out for obviously reference in the future. Because say, it'd be nice to know what 50 of them would weigh, for instance, and then maybe you could count your fish. This one's a little F1. It's only a small fish. Probably should have took my top kit off, but in fact we will.
Right. Well, I'm having an absolutely fantastic session, like you wouldn't believe, to be honest. I'm catching an F1 every chucking up against them reeds. As predicted, shallow fishing was a bit, fishing on the bottom, sorry, was a bit of a waste of time. The fishing's just too good. So what I'm doing is absolutely blathering 4mm pellets against the reeds. Big pouches of bait. There's loads of ducks in my peg. But I don't think it matters. The fish are in a bit of a frenzy now and catching them nice and shallow, making a bit of noise, slapping against the reeds. And it's not taking me very long to get a bite. Most fish are hooking themselves. Now what I did, there we go, straight away. Now what I did, I've not lost the fish all day. I lost fish all day. Why does that happen on camera? So we've got leaves, deep hook roach, and lost fish on camera as anomalies. Anyway, I'm just fishing. I started on a fixed rig against them reeds, and to be fair, it was really good. I was just tapping the water very aggressively with a pole tip, and it was ever so good, and it still is. I've noticed when it goes calm, that tapping seems to lose its effectiveness. I think it's just too much disturbance maybe on the surface. So what I've done, I've changed to the jigger. Now, I started off with what you call a traditional jigger, taking 6 or 8 number 8s and quite a big float, and it just wasn't right. I couldn't catch anything, which was obviously annoying because the swim is undoubtedly solid with fish. So last night I went and I made myself a little float. Now what I've done, I've got a Drennan Crystal Dibber, the inline version, pulled the stem out of it and got a bait drill actually, and sort of carefully drilled down the centre of the float and opened it up a bit so that just wide enough for my line to pass freely through it. It just takes, I think it's got 4 number 10s on it, so totally opposite to the heavy 6 or 8 number 8s that you see with a traditional jigger float. And it's absolutely, to be fair, it's devastating today. Just, you can slap it over and it makes a lovely little plop. It doesn't make a big noise at all, just enough. And I can fish it between 4 inches deep where the shot is, or 12 inches deep, because I've only got it set up short. The fish are high up today. And it's just devastating. So what I'm doing, I'm just slapping it over 3 times, feeding some bait. I'm not really jigging it up and down, I'm just sort of holding it. But there's definitely, look, there you go, just holding it and slowly lowering it. And the fish are just, well, big F1s. They're approaching £2 average today, which is, you know, when I've probably got 50 fish maybe already. You can see we're averaging, you know, we're on for a big weight already. So, really good fishing. It's the first time I've really had a proper play with a jigger, and I'm glad I have, because it is deadly effective. So I'm not holding back, I'm putting loads of pellets in. You know, the ducks are eating them, there's a few going in the reeds, but I don't mind that. The ducks create the competition, the reeds hold the fish. Fish love slurping bait off them reeds, so a few going in there is not a bad thing at all. It helps hold the fish. And I can just slap my float over there and hopefully catch one. Well, you can feel them banging on the rig, it's unbelievable how effective it is. Keep the pellets going in. But it makes a lovely light slap on the surface rather than the heavy duty slap. Just give it a bit of a tap every now and then. You never know, you might catch one while it's there. It's noticeable that most of the fish are coming pretty quick, so they are very shallow today. Them ducks. Unbelievable. People get agitated with them though. They don't put the fish off at all. It's just competition for food. He says as he can't get a bite now. So yeah, I'm just whipping this little jigger over, micro jigger I'm going to call it. Feeding heavy. See, the fish are swirling for the pellets, so I'm probably fishing a little bit too deep, to be honest. Now, probably want to be right at the top. And it's interesting though, because obviously Rob's catching a lot of other fish and only probably caught a dozen F1s, which I thought he was catching a lot more than that F1 wise, but he's catching other fish to go with it, so proves the worth of the maggots. But on a day like today, when you know we've got a lot of room and the F1s are, there you go, it's a bit longer that time, but the F1s are absolutely ravenous. I think you can't really beat pellets, to be honest. So I'm just using that blue hydro elastic through these F1 kits. Lovely combination. A bit awkward here because I'm quite high up off the water, but I'm trying to show you the other rig that I've been using. It's gone a bit quiet on that one, so it pays to little changes often work really well when shallow fishing for F1, so we'll put that one down. Pick the fixed rig up, which is set about, I don't know, a foot deep, short line, 4 inches between the float and pole tip. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do different this time. I'm not going to slap, I'm just going to tap, and that change in noise might just get me that quick response again. It's all about ringing the changes. The depth isn't really important because you know they're going to be right up, but it's all about making different noises and varying it and trying to keep you one step ahead. And just tapping there, not even really paying attention to what's happening to the float. When you get a bite, it'll just go over. If you start striking at bites, you're just going to miss everything. Definitely gone a bit funny the last 10 minutes, which is unusual. That short line, of course, 4 inches. They just took the cells.
Right, Smoker, talk to me. It's a brilliant day, isn't it?
Oh, the fishing's unbelievable, Rob, isn't it?
I can't believe how good the fishing is. But, although I'm really enjoying it, I just know that I'm behind because I'm not catching enough F1s.
I am catching a lot of fish.
You're catching
a lot of weight is what I'm going to say.
A lot of weight.
A lot of weight.
When I was flying on them eyed, I was probably catching 3 to your 2 sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which was sort of passable.
Yeah.
Because they're just under £1 a piece, maybe.
Yeah.
12 ounce to £1 a piece.
But
Just about keeping in touch, but obviously
it's gone into hyperdrive, hasn't it?
You're catching loads of fish. What do you think? Would you change anything to what you're doing? No?
Not now.
Wouldn't you?
It's just too good, isn't it? The fish are really responding to the bait. Obviously, every time I'm obviously putting a lot of bait in. Just really rein it in. You know, the fish are really responding. At times you can see it. Look.
Yeah. Well, what helps with the reeds is some bait stays.
And it just keeps them
at different depths.
Keeps them just feeding, doesn't it? It keeps them, and they're happy there, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you're in open water, the sun could come out.
Yeah.
And everything. But whereas over there, they're just set in them little areas, don't they? And they're happy.
Right. What I want to do is I want to persevere on the maggots for a bit.
Yeah, because I do think they'll come.
What I'm going to do is absolutely rein them in.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to rein them in for just give it probably an hour.
Yeah.
Reining them in.
I think that's probably the only thing you can do, isn't it?
And then
try pellets, maybe.
Try some pellets, yeah.
I think upping the bait will be obviously a great move.
Yeah.
Even for the hide, to be fair, because they are aggressive, aren't they?
Yeah, really aggressive. I'm just a bit cautious. I think in a match situation, the hide would disappear on you after a while.
I think with them hide, and we mentioned this off camera, because you're the only one on the lake fishing for them, you've got a lot of hide in front of you.
They're so aggressive, aren't they?
Whereas in a match, you do catch hide and you catch them all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas you ain't got that luxury today.
No.
So you could have potentially 1,000 hide sat in front of you.
I know.
Very realistically.
I think upping the feed's going to be massive.
Yeah.
And then if that doesn't work, just simply switch to pellets and just try and catch F1s. Not had no F1s. I've had probably 8, 9 F1s.
Yeah. It may be, Rob, that they want to be under some cover today, the F1s. Yeah. There is, you know, they do like that cover, don't they?
Yeah, of course they do. But it's obviously worth sorting things out, sorting the tactic out, isn't it?
But I mean, look at them.
Yeah.
They're big fish, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
And the speed you catch them over there, even though you've got a ship
that's nearly £3, isn't it? It probably is £3.
It's £3, yeah. People say they're 2, they're not. I mean, look how wide he is. But, you know, the time it takes to ship over there, because the fish are confident, it doesn't take you long to get a bite, does it? So
what do you think you've got £100?
Maybe.
Yeah. You've got
close.
Between sort of like
80 to 100,
yeah,
I'd
80
say.
to 100, and I would say I've got sort of 45 to 65.
Yeah.
But let's get right. How long have we been fishing?
It's not long. Oh, what is it?
No.
It's 1:15. We started at gone 11.
We've been fishing an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. So it's unbelievable, really, isn't it? When you think. Obviously, we are pleasure fishing, but
it's still brilliant.
The fishing is terrific here, even in matches, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
it is. Yeah.
you can see why it's popular, can't you? Because like you've had a bite of chuck with silvers.
Yeah.
And quality silvers. I'm catching an F1. I mean, look, it's just.
I know.
It's just frightening.
I'm going to rain some bait in.
Yeah, I think you should. The only other move for you is obviously a margins, but it doesn't really look margin-y.
No, but I'm not. Obviously, margin. We know that's going to work, don't we?
Yeah.
This is more about getting some tactics sorted for when we come again. If we come again on a match. And
it is funny because I think even if I was coming on a match, I'd still bring maggots.
Would you? What for?
I think it's different in the match, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
I could be wrong.
I think it is. Well, let's see what happens when I rain.
Yeah, rain it in. That'll be the big tell, won't it?
Because I'm getting F1s with my peg, but I feel that because there's so many hide there,
you're not really getting a look in, are they?
They're not getting a look in. Let's see.
Yeah. All right, mate.
So we've upped the feed, and let me tell you, things have changed. Every fish now, well, I say every fish, 80–90% of fish are F1s. And this, although it's probably £2, is one of the smaller ones. A lot of fish over £3 I'm catching now. And something that has made a difference as well, and you might have noticed already, is that I've changed to a jigger. I'm hitting a load more bites now compared to what I was, just because it's so direct. Whereas before I was missing quite a few bites, striking all the time, wasting a lot of time, you know, out of the water, not fishing properly. Now I'm hitting, well, say hitting the bites are hitting me. Every fish is hooking itself against the pole tip. Loads of bait. I'm probably feeding enough bait to get through sort of like 2 pints an hour. So that's quite a lot of bait. And you can see why when the guys are coming here, and you know, we're talking on the way here about lads feeding sort of 10 pints during a match. While that might not be everyone's cup of tea, I think if you're going to bring maggots, that's the sort of amount you're going to have to bring, unfortunately. And whereas I was catching sort of a 12-ounce hide every chuck in, try a single maggot this time. Whereas I was catching a 12-ounce hide every chuck in, now I'm catching a 2.5 pound F1. And obviously at the end of the day, that makes a huge difference to your total weight. The good thing about maggots is they stay high up in the water for longer. So unlike Joe, where he's feeding pellets and they're sinking reasonably quickly, my maggots are staying in that killing zone for a little bit longer, and I'm now catching sort of like, well, I'm hooking my fish maybe just 6 inch deep. I'm setting my jigger just so it sits above the bulk, and you can see, look at the stamp of the fish, it's brilliant. Try that again, a single maggot. Feeding before we ship out, slap the rig into the feed. Oh, I missed that one. Hold the float every single time. It's absolutely solid. And to be fair, this orange hydro now we're just catching only F1s, is a little bit on the light side.
So then, Rob, you're absolutely flying, aren't you?
Oh, it's unreal, mate. Absolutely
Change
unreal.
has been like night and day, hasn't it?
Yeah. It shows you've got to feed some bait.
Lots of.
Yeah, lots of bait. And you've got to get your rig right.
I mean, when you popped over before, you said, you know, do you think you'd stick with pellets? And you was a bit surprised when I said maggots, but this is the power of maggots, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
And
yeah.
casters as well,
yeah.
to be fair.
And I've touched on it. A big match situation.
Yeah.
I think I'd put my faith in maggots.
Yeah.
A big match situation. Obviously, the trouble is, it's a gamble. And you bring in maggots, it's going to cost you a lot of money each time you do it.
The only thing is with maggots, I always think it's money well spent, maggots. You can always find a way of making them work.
Yeah, and you know, with the...
Whereas if you were buying worms in casters, that I consider that a gamble.
Yes, because casters go off.
Yeah, and worms can be like putting poison in.
Yeah, and you've chopped them all up.
Yeah.
So
I think maggots is money well spent, if I'm honest.
Just that's my first hide for ages. Yeah. Absolutely ages. So, and also, you know, say you don't use your maggots.
Freeze them.
You can freeze them.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So it's not. Is it necessarily a gamble? The one thing I will say, going at this rate, you'd need 8 pints minimum to make it work for a 5-hour match.
That jigger's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, jigger's the way to go. Jigger's the way to go. I'm not mega keen on fishing just. Hey up. Caught Moby. Yeah. I'm not mega keen on fishing just line straight through to a shot. I'm not keen on that. Although I see it as it's a viable tactic where it's not banned. Great. And to be fair, I'd be doing the same if it was allowed.
Tell you what,
I do like a float on the line, and I think this jigger stabilises everything, and it helps.
Read you swim a little bit.
Helps you read your swim a little bit, and it helps stabilise your rig. I think it helps. It keeps everything a bit more out the wind and out the surface skim.
Yeah, maybe. It's worth touching on just how good the fishing is.
Oh, superb!
Frightening, isn't it?
Unbelievable. I mean, I know. Look, we're pleasure fishing at the end of the day, but you know, you go out a lot fishing. I go out a lot fishing.
It ain't always as good as you think when you go pleasuring all the time. Let me tell you, when I've got to do it for a living.
You can turn up somewhere, and it can be, you know, it's a good venue, but it can have its off day. Now, whether this is a good day or not, all I hear is good reports from this place. Yeah. That's all I hear. All I hear is people sacking up, bite a chuck, you know,
loads of fish,
filling 2 and 3 nets. And we're not just talking pleasure fishing, they're doing that in a match as well.
Yeah, no, it's good.
You can see how high up as well the fish are sitting, because maggots
it,
sink so slow.
They're loving it.
And they're coming up, and when you think I'm chucking in, what am I chucking in? 50 to 100 maggots every time, and you're getting one pull your leggy out it every single time. It's
a lot of fish there.
Yeah, there's a lot of fish there, yeah.
Competition for food's unbelievable. So Rob, we've had a brilliant day.
Yeah, come on Smokey, tell me what you've got. Have a guess first.
£150 we'll go for.
Right, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, lift her out. That short pellet didn't really go for you, did it?
Oh, there's a lot in there.
Hang on, what do you think? I thought you were gymming it.
Yeah, it's not that I can't lift them, it's just don't want to lift them.
£70 there, isn't there?
I reckon there's a little bit more.
Yeah, £75 in there.
I reckon I'm not going to be far away on my estimation. Let's just tip them back. Oh,
beautiful fish, aren't they?
Oh, everyone's the winner, innit? A lot of fish.
So I'm going to give you £75 there.
Yeah, I reckon £75. Let me just swim these round. I mean, an amazing day.
Same there?
Yeah. I reckon I'm not far away with me £150.
Yeah, I reckon you're bang on.
I reckon
we haven't fished 5 hours, have we?
No.
What have we done? 3.5 hours, plus a bit of obviously messing around filming, looking at each other's rigs.
I mean, you can say it's a pretty substantial day's sport, isn't it?
Brilliant fishing.
Get them back.
What do we average? £2 a piece?
Yeah.
I think you're looking at £2 a piece. So you've had 70, 80 fish, haven't you?
Yeah, easy. Amazing. Should we go have a little
look?
look?
Have a look around, because I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to see
what them eyes go.
Yeah.
Because that'll be the interesting thing.
So there is the fruits of my eyed fishing, Joe.
Lovely fish.
Whack them on the scales. Let's just see what they go, because it'd be interesting just to see, because I thought they'd probably be about £40, £45.
£35-ish there.
£35, which is a little bit less than I thought, to be fair.
Still lovely.
I reckon that's probably a big one.
He's a pound, isn't he?
He's a pound, and then what have you got? The 12 ounce to a pound.
Lovely fish.
Let's face it, 12 ounce to a pound.
Great sport, isn't they?
Yeah, brilliant sport. And let's get it right, good until the F1s turn up.
Yeah.
You know, in the slow period as well as of the match.
I mean, they were absolutely brilliant while I was catching an F1 chuck. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Which means lovely weight builders.
So we don't need to weigh these, but
there's going to be a load in there, isn't there? They're £70.
I'd say a bit more. Just have a feel. I think more. I think we're looking at £85. Would you say?
No.
£80.
75.
Right. Okay. £75.
A lot of fish, considering that you've caught most of them in like an hour and a half.
I'm happy with that. Really happy with that. Good day's fishing. I'll tell you what.
Amazing.
I think we've learnt a lot.
Oh yeah, unbelievable.
I think we've learnt loads.
Go on, lads. It just shows you how good a venue this is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you've had, what a day's fishing at the end of the day.
Yeah, brilliant fishing. Absolutely brilliant fishing.
So we'll have a bit of a debrief in the van. And yeah, good.
Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Nice to actually get some laggy
catch some fish.
And catch some fish. Really good day. Really good day.
So let's get the kit away, because I think we're going to get wet through.
I think we're going to get wet through as well.
So, right, back in the van. So Rob, we've had a brilliant day.
Unbelievable day.
Unbelievable day. We're going to get wet. Well, we're not now.
No, not now we're in the van, we're not.
But yeah, so quick debrief.
Yeah.
We've had an absolutely awesome day.
Yeah.
Both caught well over £100.
Yeah.
Both learnt a lot.
I would say I was hoping to come away thinking that I could just simplify my fishing by bringing one bait and one bait only. And I still think if I was going to do that, it'd be pellets.
Yeah.
Because although those eyed were nice to catch, and it was good fun catching them, nice to put a few fish in the net.
They weren't that heavy, were they?
They weren't that heavy. And I think I had 50 of them, or around 50 of them for £35. Whereas 50 F1s go £100, don't they?
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
So a little bit. I don't know whether they're worth catching. I don't know whether they're worth catching.
They probably would be earlier and later in the year.
Yeah.
But now in the height of summer when everything's going mad.
No, you need to catch.
You need
carp.
more weight, don't you?
You need to catch carp and F1s. So, but having said that, when I reined in the maggots,
it was brilliant.
It was F1 soup.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So, to sum it up, you've either got to bring 2 pints of pellets.
Yeah.
And take your good days with your bad days, and accept that if some bloke turns up with 10 pints of maggots next to you,
he's going to nick your fish.
He might nick your fish. Or you turn up with maggots, but there's no point turning up with 3 pints.
No, you're going to need 8 to 10 pints.
You're going to need 8 to 10 pints, and be prepared to feed a lot of them.
Yeah. But like we said, you know, maggots, it's money well spent. You can freeze them, you can look after them, or whatnot.
But you're talking, what are you talking? You probably get a deal on some maggots, even through your shop if you're buying 10 pints. So you're talking like maybe 25 quid.
It's a bit different to my 2 quid of a bait, though, isn't
exactly. It? So that's the gamble, isn't it? That's the gamble.
But there is days, like you say, where you just cannot beat those natural baits. So it's pros and cons, isn't it?
One of the biggest things that's come out of it, rig-wise, that jigger,
awesome.
That jigger was just head and shoulders above everything, wasn't it?
Yeah,
head and
direct. Shoulders. That's the first time I've really fished it proper, and I've enjoyed fishing it. It's good method, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a brilliant method. As I say, I'm not too sure if I'm happy about just a rig with a bit of line on. Although I would use it if it's a winning tactic. You've got to.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if that's the right avenue for just fishing in general to go down. Yeah. But at least with a jigger, you got a float on, and I think that float helps stabilise everything as well.
It
makes it even more direct. And let's face it, a lot of methods we fish now are self-hooking methods, because the fish we're catching, they feed aggressively, and you're able to hook them against your pole to pull your rod to.
I dare say what we were talking about just as we were letting our fish go. Unless you've got that sort of rig on now, you're going to be behind, aren't you?
Striking at bites and doing things like
Can't
that.
do it anymore.
Unless you're fishing pole on the bottom, I can't think of another instance where you need to be striking at your bite. So on rod and line fishing, you're always trying to make the fish hook themselves on a feeder, or even pellet waggler, keeping a tight line and trying to get the fish to hook themselves.
Yeah.
Shallow fishing, you always want the fish to hook themselves. It's hard to compete with those sort of methods, isn't it?
I don't think you can. The pace that you catch, you're so efficient, aren't you? Over a short space of time.
Yeah, of course you are. I had a spell then when...
Well, let's be honest, all them F1s you've caught have been in that spell.
Yeah, of course they have. I've had 75 pound of F1s in...
Hour and a half?
Yeah, not even that. Less than an hour and a half, I'd say. So, just over an hour.
Amazing.
Which is just mind-blowing, isn't it?
But it just shows you, the appeal of these places is evident, isn't it?
Well, you can see that when you drive in.
There's been a vets match on today.
There's been a vets match on. I think there's another little match on as well. The other lakes have got pleasure anglers dotted around all over the place.
And it's the same here every day when you come in the summer.
And it's midweek. You imagine what it's like at the weekend. I bet you can't get a peg.
Yeah, no, it's great fishing.
Yeah,
and you can see why, can't you?
Yeah,
loads of bites.
I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
So where are we going to go next time?
Where we're going to go next time, I'm not too sure. But
could do going on a river, couldn't we?
We could do with going on a river. We could definitely do with going on a river, and I would really enjoy that. How about we go river feeder fishing somewhere?
Yeah.
And we'll go somewhere.
Can we not go on the tidal Trent though?
No, we won't go on the tidal Trent. We might go on the Trent somewhere for plenty of bites, but not the tidal.
Yeah.
And we'll go somewhere where we'll get plenty of bites, not
necessarily big fish.
Not necessarily big fish, although
and roach and stuff. Yeah, I'd like that.
Although we could catch some big fish if we target them.
Yeah, no, because there's an art to that sort of small fish feeder fishing, isn't there? So,
yeah,
let's do that.
Love it. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll need to do it sooner rather than later though, because I want to get some practice in for me. Maybe match this final, don't I?
Oh yeah, got that, haven't you?
Yeah, have you?
So, right, thanks for watching.
Yeah, cheers lads. Really enjoyed it.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.